So, first we draw a skinny oval and a line that goes down, straight, and up again. Lastly, we have some short lines, and there, a pie plate. We have a long, graceful, squiggly line. So we draw a long line going up, down, and around. Then another one, and another. Spoons. Let's draw her head first. And then her body, a tail, her legs, then her face, and her spots, our friend, blue. So a 0 is shaped like a circle, and a backwards Z with a line for the 2, and a 9 is made like this. Numbers. First we draw a rectangle, and then 2 lines going down, and a rectangle for the base. Then we add the lines up here, and our third clue is a scale. Let's see. So to draw a building, we start with a rectangle, then another one for the roof, another one for the chimney, some squares to make windows, a door, and we have a building. So, kind of a rectangle to make the top, and another line on the bottom for the base, and then 2 squares underneath, a shelf. A book has a cover shaped like a rectangle, and then we add a line for the binding, and some more lines for the pages, a book. So, a curved line looping up, and another, there, drops of water. So a squiggly line that goes around to make a big puffy shape, a cloud. A button with curved lines coming off it to look like the sound waves that make this sound. So a circle, colored green, my favorite color, and there it is, a green light. So, 2 arches like this for the door, and a round circle for the knob, and then an arrow through the door. There, a door with an arrow. So, we draw a rectangle, and then some lines for the legs, and we have a table. Let's start with a curvy line down and around, and then a little curvy line for the stem, an apple. A curvy line that goes up here and around, and then a line for the stem, a leaf. So, a line that curves around, another one here, and then the stem. We add some lines for the ridges, a pumpkin. To draw a clock, we make a big circle, 2 little bells on top, 2 hands, and then the numbers 1 to 12, going all the way around. A clock. Okay, so a line going down and around and then up and back. Then we draw a little oval shape with some lines, and there, a pillow. So, we draw a line going down for the arm, and then the legs, and the hands, and feet, there, Blue's pajamas. So, a curvy shape that we can color in for white. Then we use our black crayon for this shape. There, black and white. So we draw the outline of a block of ice, then squiggly lines inside, and we have ice. We can draw little footsteps with some ovals here like this, and then some lines for the motion, and we have it, a waddling motion. We start with a line that curves up and around. There, a stick. We draw a long rectangular shape like this, 2 lines here, and some little dots for the holes. A bandage. First we draw a half circle, then a squiggly line here, a triangle on the bottom, and then 2 small circles that go in the ears. There, a stethoscope. To draw a mouth, we make a curvy line up and down, and then around here, and another line here. There. Let's make a big squiggly line. Yeah, with some marks for motion. There, a wiggle motion. To draw a tooth, we draw a line that curves around like this, and another curvy line for the top. So, 2 circles with a line connecting them, and 2 curved lines that go around the ears. There, glasses. So, a line for the arch of the chair, 2 curved lines around for the arms, lines going this way for the seat, lines going this way for the back, and squiggly lines for the rockers. A rocking chair. First we draw the outline of the dress, and then some lines here for the collar, some stripes, and buttons. There, a green dress with stripes. So, the roof of the school is shaped like a trapezoid, a square for the building, a rectangle for the door, 2 lines, and a triangle here, a bell, and 2 doorknobs. There, blue school. First we draw the puppy's head, like this, and a round shape for the body, a nose, eyes, 1, 2, 3, 4 paws, and a tail. There, a puppy. So, I'll draw this outline, and I'll color it in. There, a purplish pinkish color. A line that loops around for the spiral. A square for the notebook. There, my handy dandy notebook. We'll make 2 light green stripes, and use our dark green crayon to make 2 dark ones. First we make a circle for the head, a line for the body, 2 lines here for the legs, 2 lines for the arms, and 2 feet. There, a person. So, I'll start with a circle, and then a shape like a letter X, and then a swirl. There, shapes. So we draw grass with a line that goes up and down, and a line underneath. There, grass. Sky. First a line here for the ground, then my sky blue crayon to color in the blue sky. So, we start with a spiral up here, and then a square for the cover, and then we draw a picture of the thinking chair. There, our handy dandy notebook. First we draw an arc, and then 2 swirls for the arms of the chair, a curved line for the legs, and some horizontal lines for the seat. There, the thinking chair. First we draw a circle, and some smaller circles for the toes, like this, and another paw, and another. There, paw prints. To draw this ball, we make a circle, then a curved line here, and here. There, a ball. We can draw this ball by making a circle. There, a ball. So we can draw a circle, and then 2 straight lines, like this. Another ball. So, we draw a big circle and little lines for the hot rays of sunlight. There, a sun. So, we draw a shape with a line like this, and we fill it with some dots, like this. There, sand. So, we start with a line that curves around like this, and some lines for the spines. There, a cactus. So, first we draw a circle and color it in for the paw, and then some little circles for the toes, like this. There, little prints. So, we'll draw 3 lines that come together, and then 3 more lines on the other side. There, whiskers. We can draw some little lines here to help us remember this squeak sound. A line that curves around, like this, another line for the bottom, and the zipper. There, a sleeping bag. First we draw the lampshade, like this, a curve here, and a line down here for the post, and some lines here. There, a lamp. So we start with a line like this for the outside of the book, and some lines here for the pages, and a line down here for the binding. There, a book. So we start with a dot here, and 4 little toes, and another dot, 4 more toes, another one, and another one. There, paw prints. First we draw a wavy line here, and then around. Then we make a line like this, in small circles. There, a blanket. So, we start with a circle, and then a line that goes down and around like this, with a small circle for the handle. There, a rattle. So, we start with a curved shape for the heel, and 4 ovals for the toes, like this, another heel, and 4 more ovals for toes. And we have footprints. A curvy, skinny tail, like this. We make a point here, then a curve, and another point here. And we have this picture. First, let's draw the open part of the bag, like this. Then a rectangle for the front, and some lines for the side, some loops for handles, and we have a bag. We start with a curvy line around for the front of the footprint, and then a curved line with a straight line for the heel. There, a footprint. First, we draw a rectangle, then a line across, and a smaller rectangle inside, then a line that curves around like this, and another one. There, a videotape. So, we start with the ears, and then the body, then 2 dots for eyes, some curves for a mouth, some straight lines for whiskers, and the paws, and a nice squiggly line for the tail. There, a mouse. Let's start with a circle, then some curves all around for the petals, a straight line for the stem, and a leaf, like this, a flower. So, we draw a curvy line around for the hippo's head, the eyes, and the nose, a happy smile, 2 squares for the teeth, then a round shape for a body, and a little bump for a tail. There, a happy hippo. Let's see. To draw scales, we need some rows of half circles. There, scales. This shape looks like a line that curves around like this, with some bumps here, and some bumps here. There, a shape. Let's use 3 different crayons. Some green, and then some red, and then orange. There, changing colors. We start with an M, and then an A, a K, and an E. There, that spells make. Let's make an A. There, an A. To write poem, we make a P, an O, an E, and an M. There, that spells poem. Let's start with a line, with a point for the tip, then a line around for the rest of the crayon, some stripes, and another line around, with a point for the tip, and some more stripes. Crayons, a rectangle for the front half of the paper, with a part of the other half poking up from behind. A folded piece of paper. Let's draw a rectangle, then a line that swoops down for the flap, 2 diagonal lines here, and we have an envelope. A puffy line all around. And we have a cloud. A line that curves around with a point on the top. There, a drop of water. To draw freezing, maybe we can try some swirly lines, like this. And then some little dots and X's. There, that can be freezing, which is a long rectangle. There, a red stripe. Let's use our blue crayon. We can make a line that starts off like a triangle and then goes up, across, and then back down. There, a blue star. Let's draw bouncing with a curvy line that goes up and down and up. There, bouncing. A shape pointing up, and then a line coming down, and a big rectangle around. An up light switch. First, let's draw a shape like this for the shade. Then a line down and around, some lines on the shade, and a circle on top. There, a lamp. A shape pointing down, and then a line coming down, and a big rectangle around. There, a down light switch. Let's draw an oval, and then some squiggly lines like this. There, a cookie. Let's start with a round shape, like this, with a curvy line for the bottom of the scoop. There, ice cream. So, a cookie is an oval and then some squiggly lines, like this. There, another cookie. A loopy line for the spiral, a square, then the thinking chair, arms, the back, the seat, legs. There, our handy dandy notebook. First an oval, then a line around like this. There, a knob. So, a rectangle for the front, and lines for the sides, and the back, and a curve for the handle. So, let's draw a jagged line for the roof, then some straight lines that go around like this, a curved line for the door. There, Magenta's house. Okay, and then down, right. Okay. There, a window. So, a curvy line for her ears, around like this for her face, her eyes, her nose, a round shape for her body, 4 lines for her legs, a tail, and a spot on her back. There, it's blue.